The station was never meant to feel small. It had wide halls, tall ceilings, and observation windows that looked out into slow-moving stars. Humans designed it that way so no one would feel trapped. Still, when the lockdown warning echoed through the metal walls, the station suddenly felt like a box with no doors. Ethan Hale was in the storage wing when it happened. A calm, artificial voice spoke from the ceiling. External breach detected. All sectors sealed. Estimated lockdown duration, 12 days. Ethan froze, a supply crate half lifted in his hands. 12 days, he muttered. The lights shifted from white to a steady amber. Emergency mode. Ethan dropped the crate and ran. His boots echoed as he moved through the curved hallway toward the residential wing. His mind raced through possibilities: meteor damage, pirate scans, system failure. None of it mattered as much as one thing: Karash. She was alone in the habitat module, and if the station records were correct, the timing could not have been worse. Ethan reached the door and pressed his palm to the scanner. The panel blinked green, and the door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the room was dim. Curtains were drawn over the window. The air smelled faintly metallic, mixed with something sharper, unfamiliar. Karash sat on the floor near the far wall. She was taller than Ethan, her long limbs folded close to her body. Her skin, usually a calm shade of deep blue, shimmered with faint streaks of silver light. Her eyes were closed and her breathing was uneven. She looked wrong, not injured but strained, like she was holding something back. "Karash," Ethan said carefully. Her eyes snapped open. For a moment he thought she didn't recognize him. Her pupils were wide, almost glowing, and her posture shifted as if she were ready to flee or fight. Then she exhaled sharply. "Ethan," she said. Her voice was rough. "You should not be here." He stepped inside anyway, the door sealed behind him. "The station is locked down," he said. "I couldn't leave even if I wanted to." She looked away. "Then this is very bad timing." Ethan already knew the answer, but he asked anyway. "Is it the season?" Karash was silent for several seconds. Then she gave a small nod. "Yes." Ethan swallowed. He had read about it during his orientation as an exchange cadet. Most species had cycles, some physical, some mental. Karash's people were known across the galaxy for theirs. The translators had chosen the word mating because there was no direct human equivalent. But the files had been clear enough. It wasn't about reproduction in the human sense. It was about instincts. During the season, her species experienced intense biological changes. Heightened emotions, strong reflexes, deep ancestral urges tied to survival and bonding. Most of her people isolated themselves or were monitored in controlled environments. Karash was supposed to be planetside. "You weren't meant to be on the station," Ethan said quietly. "I know," she replied. Her fingers dug into the floor panels. The transport delay was unexpected. Another warning chimed softly from the wall console. "Lockdown confirmed. All external communication suspended." Karash's shoulders tensed. "You should stay away from me," she said. "Humans are not safe during this time." Ethan frowned. "That's not what the medical files said." She gave a short, humorless sound. "The medical files are written by people who do not live through it." Ethan took a slow breath and sat down on the floor several feet away from her. He made sure to keep his hands visible and his movements calm. "I'm not leaving," he said, "and I'm not afraid of you." Her eyes flicked back to him. "You should be." "Maybe," he admitted. "But fear won't help either of us." Karash studied him. Her senses were sharper now. She could hear his heart rate, steady but fast. She could smell the faint stress chemicals humans released under pressure. He was nervous, but he was still here. "You do not understand what happens to us," she said. "The season pushes. It reminds us of old laws, old needs. It is loud." "Then we'll treat it like a medical emergency," Ethan said. "Same as anything else." Her expression shifted, confusion mixed with something else. "Surprise, maybe. No one treats it that way," she said. "Well," Ethan replied, "that sounds like their mistake." Another tremor ran through her body. She pressed her back against the wall, eyes closing again. Ethan stood up slowly. "I'm going to check the station systems. Make sure nothing else is failing. I'll be back." She opened one eye. "You are not locking me in here." "No," he said simply. "I trust you." That word landed harder than any command. He left the room, heart pounding harder now that he was alone in the hallway. The station AI responded as he moved through the corridors, listing damage reports and system restrictions. A micrometeor strike had damaged the outer docking ring. Automatic sealing protocols had engaged. No escape. No outside help. 12 days. Ethan reached the control hub and pulled up xenobiology files again, reading faster this time. He skipped the cultural warnings and focused on symptoms, risks, and mitigation methods. Most of the galaxy avoided Karash's species during the season. Humans, according to the notes, were considered unpredictable. Ethan snorted softly. Funny. He gathered medical supplies, portable monitors, hydration packs, and a set of station privacy barriers, soft field screens meant to create personal space in shared environments. When he returned, Karash had moved slightly. She was sitting upright now, knees drawn in, her glow brighter. "You came back," she said. "I said I would." He set the supplies down between them, then activated one of the soft field barriers, placing it at a respectful distance. "This creates a boundary," he explained. "You stay on your side, I stay on mine, no surprises." She tilted her head. "You think boundaries will matter?" "I think they always do," he said. He handed her a hydration pack and showed her how to open it. She accepted it slowly, as if unused to being helped during this time. As the hours passed, the station settled into an uneasy quiet. Karash spoke little. Ethan did not push her to talk. He monitored her vitals, adjusted the lighting, and kept the temperature steady. He treated the situation like a long night watch. At one point she laughed softly. "What?" he asked. "You are very strange for a human," she said. "I get that a lot." "You are calm," she continued. "Most species either flee or try to control us." "I'm not here to control you," Ethan said. "I'm here to make sure we both get through this." Her gaze lingered on him, sharp and searching. "The season has only begun," she warned. "It will get worse." Ethan nodded. "Then we'll take it one step at a time." Outside the station, something moved in the dark. Unseen sensors flickered as a faint signal brushed against the hull. A scavenger ship, drawn by the automated distress pulse sent out during lockdown. Inside, unaware of the approaching danger, a human and an alien sat on opposite sides of a glowing barrier, waiting for the long days ahead. The season had begun, and the station was no longer alone. The second day of lockdown began without sunrise. The station lights shifted from night cycle blue to a soft white meant to copy morning. It fooled no one. Outside the windows, space remained dark and endless. Ethan had not slept much. He sat in a chair near the control panel, eyes heavy but alert. Every few minutes he glanced toward the soft field barrier that divided the room. On the other side, Karash sat quietly, her posture tense even when she was still. Her glow was brighter than the day before. The season was moving forward. "How do you feel?" Ethan asked after a long silence. Karash's eyes opened slowly. "Like my body is arguing with my mind." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." Her voice was steadier than before, but there was strain underneath it. She took another slow drink from the hydration pack. Ethan noticed her hands tremble slightly. He checked the portable monitor. Her vital signs were elevated but still within the safe range described in the files. Heart rate fast, neural activity high, stress markers rising. Nothing dangerous yet. The files say this phase usually peaks around day 6, Ethan said, more to himself than to her. "Yes," Karash replied. "If nothing interferes." Ethan looked up. "Interferes how?" She hesitated. "Fear, isolation, being treated as a threat." He nodded slowly. "Then we'll avoid those." Karash studied him again, the same searching look as before. "You speak as if it is simple." It's not, Ethan said, but simple doesn't mean easy. The station hummed quietly around them, systems running at reduced power. No outside messages, no new alerts for now. Ethan stood and stretched carefully. I'm going to run a full systems check. The lockdown damaged more than just the dock. You do not need to stay so close, Karish said. Distance would be safer for you. I know where the line is, he replied, and I'm not crossing it. He moved to the console and brought up station schematics. As he worked, he talked not at her but around her. Small things, routine things, what his training had been like, how humans use structure to stay calm. Karish listened without interrupting. On her homeworld, the season was hidden away. Members of her species were placed in isolation chambers or sedated under watch. They were spoken about, not spoken to. No one filled the silence for them. You do this on purpose, she said suddenly. Ethan glanced over. Do what? You keep talking, she said, even when I do not answer. He smiled faintly. Yeah, silence makes people imagine things. Talking keeps the mind anchored. Her eyes softened slightly. No one ever tried to anchor us before. Ethan paused his work. That seems wrong. It is tradition, she replied. Tradition is not always kind. A faint shudder passed through her body. The glow along her arms pulsed, then steadied. Ethan resisted the urge to move closer. The barrier stayed where it was. You're doing well, he said. You're in control. For now, she said quietly. Hours passed. Ethan discovered the meteor strike had damaged more than expected. Long-range sensors were offline. External turrets were in standby. The distress signal had been sent automatically before communications shut down. That bothered him. Distress signals attracted help. They also attracted others. He checked the external scan logs again. There it was, a brief energy ripple logged several hours earlier. Too weak to confirm, too clear to ignore. Someone or something was nearby. He felt a cold knot form in his stomach. Karish noticed his change in posture immediately. Her instincts sharpened her awareness of him. Something is wrong, she said. Maybe, Ethan answered carefully. The station might not be as empty as we hoped. Her body tensed. Predators, scavengers, he corrected. They hunt damaged stations, strip them for parts. Her breath quickened. They know what my species is. Yes, Ethan said. Which is why we don't panic. Her lips pressed into a thin line. During the season, we are considered easy targets. Well, Ethan replied, they're going to be disappointed. He moved deliberately, not rushing. He activated internal defense protocols, rerouted power to passive shields, and masked Karish's biosignature as much as the system allowed. Karish watched him with growing disbelief. You prepare to fight, she said, but you remain calm. Panic wastes energy, he said. Preparation uses it. Another wave of sensation rolled through her, stronger this time. She gasped softly, fingers curling into the floor. Ethan stopped moving. Talk to me, he said. What's happening? The season is pressing harder, she admitted. It pushes memory and instinct together. It tells me what I should be. And what is that? A weapon, she said, or a danger? Ethan shook his head slowly. You're a person. Her eyes snapped to his. You truly believe that? Yes. The word was firm, certain. Her breathing slowed slightly. That belief is rare, she said. Well, Ethan answered, humans are good at rare things. The hours crept on. The station's artificial day dimmed toward night again. Ethan prepared a rest cycle plan, encouraging Karish to lie down while he stayed awake. You do not need to watch me constantly, she said. I'm not watching, he replied. I'm standing by. She lay back slowly, still tense but no longer shaking. The glow along her skin dimmed just a little. Ethan sat with his back against the wall, eyes on the console. That was when the proximity alert chimed. Soft, polite, deadly. Ethan's head snapped up. He pulled up the external feed. A ship drifted just beyond sensor range, its hull scarred and dark. No official markings, no transponder, scavengers. His jaw tightened. Inside the room, Karish stirred. They have come, she said, voice low. Yes, Ethan replied, but they haven't acted yet. They will, she said. They always do. Ethan considered his options. The station defenses were weak. Running was impossible. Fighting openly would draw attention to Karash. He looked at her, really looked at her. You trust me? He asked. She hesitated only a moment. Yes. Then listen carefully, he said. No matter what happens, you stay behind the barrier. You do not let the season decide your actions. Her eyes burned with intensity. You ask much. I know, he said, but I wouldn't ask if I didn't believe you could do it. The scavenger ship moved closer. Ethan began rerouting systems, setting traps not of force but of confusion, false signals, ghost readings, human unpredictability woven into the station's response. Karash watched, heart racing, not from fear but from something new, hope. For the first time in her life, during the most dangerous cycle of her existence, someone was not trying to hide her, restrain her, or abandon her. Someone was standing between her and the galaxy. The season surged again, stronger than before, and Karash held the line. Outside, the scavengers prepared to strike. Inside, a human chose restraint over fear, and the station waited, balanced on the edge of what would come next. The third day began with alarms Ethan did not expect. They were not loud. They were quiet, careful sounds meant to warn trained crew without causing panic. A soft, repeating tone echoed through the station corridors. Ethan was already on his feet before the second chime ended. He pulled up the external feed. The scavenger ship had moved closer during the night, much closer. It now hovered just beyond the damaged docking ring using the station's blind spots. They are testing us, Karash said from behind the barrier. Ethan nodded. Yeah, they're seeing if we're scared. Karash's glow was brighter than it had been at any point so far. Thin lines of silver light ran across her arms and neck, pulsing slowly like a second heartbeat. Her senses were fully awake now. Every sound, every shift in the air reached her sharply. The season was no longer quiet. Her body wanted to act. It urged speed, strength, reaction. She clenched her hands and stayed where she was. Ethan noticed. That was good, he said without turning around. You felt the urge, didn't you? Yes, she replied. It was strong. And you stopped, he said. That matters. She let out a slow breath. It feels like holding back a storm. Storms pass, Ethan said. Damage only happens when you let them decide where to go. The scavenger ship extended a probe. It drifted toward the hull, searching for weak points. Ethan's fingers moved across the console. He rerouted power again, feeding false data into the external sensors. The probe hesitated, confused by readings that showed the station as unstable, dangerous, and not worth boarding. For a moment it seemed to work. Then the probe adjusted. They are learning, Karash said. Yeah, Ethan replied. So do we. Another wave hit her then. This one was stronger than before. Her vision sharpened until she could see tiny scratches in the metal walls. She could hear Ethan's breathing clearly, each inhale and exhale distinct. Her instincts screamed at her to move, to protect, to confront. Her muscles tensed. She dug her heels into the floor and stayed behind the barrier. I am losing strength, she said, voice tight. The season takes energy as much as it gives it. Ethan turned and looked at her fully. Then we adjust. He moved slowly toward the medical kit and retrieved a nutrient injector. He explained every step before doing anything, keeping his movements clear and predictable. This will help with energy loss, he said. Nothing else. She hesitated, then nodded. He placed the injector through the barrier's access port and activated it. Karash hissed softly as it worked, then relaxed slightly as the nutrients entered her system. That helps, she admitted. Good, Ethan said, because we're not done yet. The scavenger ship docked a grappling line to the outer hull. Ethan's console flashed red. Boarding attempt, the AI announced. Karash's head lifted sharply. They will come inside. Not if I can help it, Ethan replied. He initiated internal lockdowns, sealing sections of the station to create narrow paths. He didn't plan to fight directly. He planned to guide. The scavengers breached the outer airlock. They moved cautiously, expecting traps. They found them. Lights flickered. Gravity shifted slightly. Sound echoed in strange ways. Doors closed and opened just long enough to suggest movement where there was none. Human-made confusion. Karish listened, her mind racing faster than ever. Her instincts wanted to hunt the intruders to end the threat quickly. Her body felt ready, powerful, alive. She did not move. "Talk to me," Ethan said quietly, eyes still on the feed. "The season tells me I was born for this," she said, "that I should act." "And what do you say?" he asked. "I say I choose," she replied. Ethan smiled just a little. "That's the difference," he said. One of the scavengers triggered a motion sensor. Automated turrets tracked the movement but did not fire. Ethan had reprogrammed them to project threat without lethal force. The scavengers hesitated. They were not used to resistance that did not attack. Karish's breathing grew uneven again as another surge passed through her. Sweat-like moisture formed along her temples. Her glow flared, then steadied. She pressed her back against the wall and closed her eyes. "I am afraid," she admitted. "Of them?" Ethan asked. "No," she said. "Of myself." Ethan's voice softened. "Being afraid doesn't mean you're losing control. It means you care about keeping it." A loud clang echoed through the station as the scavengers forced another door. They were getting closer. Ethan scanned options rapidly. The station systems were degrading under the stress. He could hold them off for a while, but not forever. He looked at Karish. "Can you do something for me?" he asked. Her eyes opened, bright, focused. "Yes. I need you to send a controlled biosignal," he said. "Not a surge, just enough to make them think you're unstable." Her brow furrowed. "That is dangerous." "I know," Ethan said. "That's why I'm asking, not ordering." She considered it. The season pressed, eager to break free. This would mean touching that edge without crossing it. "I will try," she said. She focused inward, letting a small part of the instinct rise, just enough. The station sensors spiked. Outside, the scavenger readings flared wildly. Their instruments screamed warnings of a powerful, unstable alien presence. Panic spread through their ranks. Ethan amplified the signal just enough to make it look worse than it was. "This station is compromised," the scavenger leader barked over open comms. "Fall back." The boarding party retreated, slamming doors behind them as they ran. Karish collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Ethan was at the barrier instantly, but he did not cross it. "You did great," he said firmly. "You stopped exactly where you needed to." She looked up at him, eyes shaking. "I almost didn't." "But you did," he said. "That's what matters." The scavenger ship pulled away from the hull, thrusters flaring as it retreated into the dark. Silence returned to the station. Karish slumped against the wall, exhausted. The glow along her skin dimmed, flickering weakly. "The season is stronger now," she whispered. "Each time I touch it, it remembers." Ethan nodded. "Then we'll need to be more careful." He sat down on his side of the barrier, close enough to be present but not invasive. "You're not a weapon," he said. "You're a person dealing with a hard condition." Her eyes filled with something she did not name. "You speak to me like I matter," she said. "You do," Ethan replied simply. Outside, the scavenger ship vanished from sensors. Inside, the danger was not gone. The season was still rising, and both of them knew the hardest part was yet to come. The fourth day did not begin with alarms. That worried Ethan more than noise ever could. The station felt too quiet. No system alerts, no proximity warnings, just the steady hum of life support and the slow rhythm of artificial light cycles. Ethan stood at the console, eyes scanning data that refused to change. "They are waiting," Karish said. Her voice was calm, but her body was not. She stood now, no longer sitting or lying down. Remaining still had become harder. The glow along her skin was brighter and less even, flaring in short pulses that matched her breathing. The season was deep inside her now, no longer knocking but pushing. Ethan nodded. Scavengers don't leave unless they're sure. If they pulled back, it means they're planning something else. Karash's fingers twitched. Or they are calling others. That too, Ethan said. He checked the station's power reserves, down to 70%, enough to hold defenses but not forever. The soft field barrier still stood strong between them, faintly shimmering. Ethan made sure it stayed that way. You should rest, he said gently. Karash let out a sharp, quiet laugh. Rest is no longer possible. Another wave hit her. This one was different. It was not just strength or instinct. It was memory, old memory. Her ancestors' survival patterns flooding her thoughts. Images of open plains, of enemies hunted or avoided, of choices made quickly and without doubt. Her body wanted certainty. She took a step forward without thinking. The barrier flared softly as she reached its edge. She froze. I almost crossed, she said, voice tight with fear. Ethan stood immediately, raising one hand not toward her but in reassurance. You stopped, he said. That's what matters. But what if next time I do, she asked. Then we adjust again, Ethan replied. We don't give up because something is hard. Karash's eyes burned bright. Your species is strange. We've had a lot of practice being afraid of ourselves, he said. A sudden vibration ran through the station. Not violent, controlled. Ethan swore under his breath and pulled up the external feed. The scavengers were back. Not one ship, 3. They drifted into view like dark birds, moving with purpose now. No hesitation, no caution. They are done waiting, Karash said. Yes, Ethan replied. And so are we. He rerouted power again, pulling energy from non-essential systems. The station lights dimmed slightly. Gravity fluctuated, then stabilized. Ethan's plan was simple. Simple plans survived stress. He activated the station's internal maze configuration. Walls shifted, corridors reconfigured, doors led nowhere or doubled back. The station became a puzzle designed by human engineers who loved redundancy and misdirection. The scavengers breached the hull in 2 places at once. They're splitting up, Ethan muttered. Karash's breathing quickened. The season surged again, reacting to the presence of multiple threats. Her muscles tensed, her posture changing subtly as instinct prepared her to fight. She squeezed her eyes shut. Talk, she said. Keep me anchored. Ethan did not hesitate. You're standing in a station built by people who survive by adapting, he said calmly. You're not alone. You're not a threat. You're someone who is choosing control in the hardest moment of your life. Her breathing slowed slightly. The scavengers moved through the maze, their frustration growing as doors sealed and alarms whispered half-warnings. Ethan fed them false signals, making it seem like the station was collapsing in unpredictable ways. Fear worked better than force. One scavenger fired a weapon at a wall. The energy blast ricocheted, damaging their own gear. Idiots, Ethan muttered. Karash opened her eyes. They will hurt the station, she said. If they damage life support. I know, Ethan said. Which is why we're going to end this before they reach anything important. He looked at her. I need you again, he said, but only if you're certain. She met his gaze, fully present despite the storm inside her. What do you need? She asked. I need you to do nothing, he said. Her expression flickered with surprise. Nothing. Yes, Ethan said. They expect you to be a monster, a weapon, a danger they can provoke. He leaned slightly closer to the barrier, careful, respectful. If you do nothing, if you stay in control, they lose their advantage. I'll handle the rest. The season screamed at her to act. She clenched her fists and stayed where she was. Ethan activated the final phase of his plan. He opened a narrow channel on the station's internal comms, not to the scavengers directly, but to the background systems their translators would pick up. Human language, clear, calm. This is a human-controlled station, Ethan's voice echoed softly through the corridors. You are trespassing, the environment is unstable, withdrawal is your safest option. The scavengers paused. They were used to fear, to pleading, to threats. Not this. Karash felt the shift immediately. The season reacted not to danger but to choice. Her instincts stumbled, unsure how to respond. One of the scavengers laughed over open comms. "You bluff, human," Ethan smiled grimly. He triggered the station's emergency venting simulation. Air pressure alarms blared. Warning lights flared red. The station shook, not violently but enough to feel real. "You have 60 seconds," Ethan said calmly. "This station will purge compromised sections." The scavengers broke. They ran. 2 ships disengaged immediately. The third hesitated, trying to salvage something, anything. That was their mistake. The station's automated defense grid activated, not lethal but precise. Energy nets flared, disabling the ship's engines without destroying it. The ship drifted, powerless. Ethan locked it out of all systems. Silence fell again. Karash sank to her knees, the effort finally catching up with her. The glow along her skin flickered wildly, then dimmed. "The season is peaking," she whispered. "I am so tired." Ethan stayed where he was, voice steady. "You're doing better than anyone ever expected of you." She laughed weakly. "Expectations were low." "Then you're rewriting them," he said. Minutes passed, then more. The station remained secure. No new threats appeared. Karash's body shook as another wave passed through her. This one was quieter, heavier. Not demanding action but release. "I feel like I'm coming apart," she said softly. "You're not," Ethan replied. "You're changing, that's different." She looked at him through the barrier, eyes glowing faintly. "Why are you still here?" she asked. "You could have sealed another section, protected yourself." Ethan did not look away. "Because leaving would have been easy," he said. "And this matters." Her throat tightened. She turned her face away, not wanting him to see the emotion there. Outside the station, the disabled scavenger ship drifted helplessly. Inside, the real battle continued. The season was reaching its highest point, and Karash was still choosing who she would be. The 5th day began with stillness. Not the heavy, waiting silence of danger, but something softer, like the moment after a storm when the air has not yet decided what comes next. Ethan noticed it the moment he woke. The station lights shifted gently into the morning cycle. Systems hummed at a steady rhythm. No alarms, no warnings, no distant shapes moving on the sensors. For the first time since the lockdown began, nothing was trying to break in. He rose slowly, joints stiff, and checked the console. Power levels were low but stable. The disabled scavenger ship still drifted outside, locked out and harmless. No other ships nearby. They had made it through the worst. Ethan turned toward the soft field barrier. Karash lay on the floor on her side, breathing slow and deep. The bright glow that had once pulsed across her skin was now faint, like embers instead of flame. Her posture was loose, no longer held tight by effort. The season was breaking. Ethan felt a quiet relief settle into his chest. He stayed where he was, did not cross the barrier. Did not speak, he let her rest. Time passed differently now, slower, gentler. When Karash finally stirred, it was not with tension but confusion. Her eyes opened, unfocused at first, then slowly aware. She sat up, blinking. "It is quiet," she said. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, it is." She looked down at her hands, turning them slightly as if expecting to see something different. "The pull is gone," she said softly. "Not fully, but enough. The season is ending." "That's good," Ethan replied. "You held through the peak." She looked at him, then really looked at him, and something in her expression shifted. Not fear, not instinct, recognition. "You stayed," she said. "It was not a question." "I said I would," Ethan answered. She stood carefully, testing her balance. The barrier shimmered between them, still active. She did not move closer. For the first time she smiled. It was small, tired, real. "On my world," she said, "we mark the end of the season with silence, to remind ourselves we survived." Ethan smiled back. "Seems appropriate." They stood like that for a while, separated by light and choice. Eventually, Ethan checked the external sensors again. A new signal blinked faintly at the edge of range. Clean, official, rescue. Looks like help is finally on the way, he said. Karash exhaled long and slow. Good, I do not think I could endure another test. You won't have to, Ethan said. Not like that. As the hours passed, the station began the slow process of recovery. Systems rebooted. Communications flickered back online. Automated messages queued and sent. The rescue vessel docked carefully, avoiding the damaged ring. Ethan received the hail and responded, explaining the situation in clear, calm terms. There were questions, many questions. He answered them all. Medical teams arrived first. They scanned Karash carefully, respectfully. No restraints, no assumptions. She allowed the scans without protest. She stabilized herself, one of the medics said quietly, disbelief clear in their voice. During peak season. With support, Ethan corrected. Karash heard him. When they tried to escort her away immediately, she paused. I will go, she said, but I wish to speak first. The medics hesitated, then nodded. She turned to Ethan. In my culture, she said, family is defined by survival. Those who stand with you when instinct says to stand alone. Ethan shifted, suddenly unsure. Okay. You are not my blood, she continued. Not my species, not my obligation. She placed one hand over her chest in the gesture of her people. You are my chosen kin. The room went very quiet. Ethan swallowed. That means a lot. It should, she said, and her smile this time was stronger. The barrier deactivated with a soft chime. Neither of them moved closer. They did not need to. Later, reports spread. Not loudly, not with drama. Just facts. A human exchange cadet had remained locked in a damaged station with a vulnerable alien during her most dangerous biological cycle. He had not restrained her, had not abandoned her, had not tried to control what the galaxy feared. He had trusted her. Among the stars that mattered, galactic observers took note. Cultural analysts rewrote assumptions. Humans were no longer spoken of only as impulsive or aggressive. They were spoken of as disciplined, as steady, as dangerous not because they lacked control but because they had it. As the station was cleared and the last systems powered down, Ethan and Karash stood at the airlock. You will return to your program, she said. Yeah, Ethan replied. And you'll go home. Yes, she said. But things will be different now. How so? She looked out at the stars. The season will not be spoken of only as something to endure. It will be something we can face. Ethan nodded. That's a good change. She met his eyes one last time. When the galaxy speaks of humans, she said, it will remember this. The airlock doors closed gently between them. The station drifted quietly in space, scars visible but systems alive. Humanity had not conquered, had not dominated, had not taken. It had stayed. And that in the end was enough.